Hey everyone, Sergio with the Rideshare Guy. Welcome to a special episode of Behind the Wheel. So today I'm joined by Trent from Palm Beach, Florida. Trent, welcome.
Hey, welcome. Thanks, Sergio. Good to be with you again.
Absolutely, yeah. So he said again, Trent actually was on a Behind the Wheel uh, about a year ago, maybe
Yeah,
something
it's been
like
about a
that.
year.
So we usually don't have repeat customers here, but in his case, I think this fits the theme over the last couple of weeks, all the behind the wheels that we're doing. And last week it was Luis with Delivery TV. I am definitely going to start. This is my next project, Trent. So I'm definitely, after the algorithmic wage discrimination project, it didn't end, but it just kind of culminated with a viral video. This is my next project. I think this, first of all, illegal accounts, fake accounts are so prevalent on all these gig apps that a lot of drivers complain of oversaturation, and California, Florida, Texas, is all these border states are run over by illegals. I mean, I'm an immigrant. I have nothing against immigration, legal immigration, but so I thought there was a really strong connection here because you were a border patrol agent for
Correct.
years, right?
Yep.
So introduce yourself and let's talk about those days. And I mean, look, this is not about politics, but I'm sure you have your view about illegal immigration, and you can obviously chime in about that too.
Correct. Yeah, my name's Trent. I live in Palm Beach. Been driving Uber about 6 years, on and off, doing private clients also. That's what we did the behind the wheel for last time was creating private clients. Was a border patrol agent from 99 to 2002 before 9/11, then transferred over to the Air Marshal Service after 9/11. But was in Laredo, Texas. Even back then, we had a major problem with illegals crossing blind eye. I mean, we went through two different presidents at the time when I was there with Clinton and Bush, and it just was kind of getting overlooked. It's always been overlooked by our politicians. They want to use it as a guideline to get elected, but they don't really want to do anything. I mean, look at our current person running for president. She just went to the border this week, right? It's been 4 years. So it's only when election time comes does this end up being an issue for most of them. So it's pretty prevalent here in South Florida. Like it's everywhere. And before we get talking about it, we do have. I think we need to classify that some of the illegals are not necessarily illegal when it comes to by law standards, but they don't have driver's license. So, for instance, the multiple illegals that I know here that are driving on the app, a lot of them have applied for asylum. They have got their work permits, so they can legally work for Uber, but they have to wait 6 months when they come here to get their work permit, and then that's an issue in itself because for 6 months they're going to have to work, right? So what's an easier way to do it? Food service, whatever, delivery. That's the problem we're running into. Also, just because they get the work permit doesn't necessarily mean they can have a driver's license.
Yeah,
And that is the other issue that we're facing here. Florida, we actually have higher insurance rates than California.
yeah,
It's because of the uninsured motorist. I pay almost 900 a month for my commercial insurance for one vehicle, and then for my other three vehicles, I pay 600 a month.
yeah.
And I don't even have an insured motorist on those other three because it would be 1,800 a month. And I've never had an accident, never had a speeding ticket, never had a ticket. It's just a no fault state.
Yeah, it's a
So,
collateral damage situation there, right? I mean, a lot
you
of
know,
people who are driving without insurance, and the insurance companies take it out on,
yeah,
who are doing it legally, and like yourself. And
yeah,
but that happens in California as well. But um, so the last behind the wheel, very popular one, obviously, was hitting, and this is my next project, and I'm definitely going to keep digging on this because, well, not only it is hurting the earnings of the existing onboarded drivers, rideshare, and
correct.
deliveries as well. And so it's the same size pie, a lot more mouths to feed. And look, I'm not against people making money at all. That's not my problem. My problem is also now becoming, as a consumer of these products myself, right? I've ordered food plenty of times, and Bob was supposed to bring my food, or Nancy, and Bob shows up, and I'm going like, how's this even safe for the consumer? And that's what I want to do. I want to get to the consumer actually, because getting to the driver, I mean, drivers are transitory. They come, they go. Couriers are, come and go. But you personally have experienced this yourself over the last couple of months, and we've been obviously in touch. So
Yeah.
talk a little bit about what you've seen, what have you experienced in your personal
Yeah.
situation.
So one of the other businesses that I run is a house cleaning business, and we all know that that is a business that has a large population of illegal immigrants or immigrants working. Uh, and hiring 14, 16, 18 people for that type of business, you're going to have asylum seekers, you're going to have illegals in their fake documents. So I've got to know a lot of these people, a lot of their families. Here in Palm Beach, we have a certain area of West Palm that is 95% Hispanic, and it's mostly where the immigrants live. It's a 6 mile radius, and most of the people are from Venezuela, of course, Guatemala, Honduras. They all have families, they all have husbands who need to work. So getting to know some of the girls that work in this, they're always asking, hey, do you have something for my husband? Do you have this? Do you have this? And when you start getting to talk to them, you realize a lot of the husbands are doing deliveries. They're doing this. And I'm like, wow, you've only been here for 2 months. Like, how is your husband doing this? Oh, no, no, we have a friend. He's letting us use the account. He's letting us do this. And they all know the rules. They know that DoorDash is easy. They know that Uber Eats is easy as long as they can get on the account. Uber and Lyft is a little bit harder because you have more contact with the person you're driving, but it's not impossible. So about a month ago, one of them put me on to how they get these documents. And you basically just go through WhatsApp, you reach out to a person, whatever it is. And for here, we have a local grocery store that is Bodegon. Like it's just a South American grocery store. They're everywhere. The guy reaches out to you and he was like, do you want a Caucasian? Do you want an African American? Do you want a Hispanic, male, female? And my wife was like, white male. And he's like, okay, I'll give you 50 to choose from. And she's like, what is this going to cost me? And he's like $200 up front, then 20% of the weekly. We get paid on Tuesday. We'll Zelle you, or you can come by and pick up cash on Tuesday. And so she goes through and they send her pictures. And she's like, there, find one that looks similar to whoever you need. And then come by the Bodegon, give this code. When you give the code, we'll install something on your phone. We'll put DoorDash, whatever, on your phone. And there you go. You're all set. And then we'll pay you on Tuesday.
So
And
hold on. Let me get this right. Okay, so you contact. I've seen those ads.
yeah,
Obviously, they're very prevalent. They're
yep,
everywhere, WhatsApp and whatever on social media. And I was thinking most of them are scams to scam the person that is actually contacting you, but I guess it's
right.
not, right? So
Some probably are, some probably aren't.
they
I mean,
probably
it's
are.
like
Okay,
everything
so
else.
you contact this person who's offering these accounts on social media.
Yeah.
They literally give you a choice of like,
Yep. They'll send you pictures of, I mean, for they sent my wife maybe 8 pictures of white men, and they're like, find the one that's most similar. It doesn't have to be perfect. And you pick it out, and they give you an account with that person's name, that person's whatever, and you drive around with that account. And they actually install it on your phone. They log in with the passwords, everything on the account. So they put the account on your phone. This is just one way they do it. I'm sure there's multiple ways, but this is
yeah,
how this person was doing it. And I knew this wasn't a scam because we had got this person's contact through somebody else who was doing it. But the thing is, this guy also that was driving for DoorDash for this guy, he literally um, drove for about 3 weeks. And then after about 3 weeks, he was making like 800, 900 a week. And then he made like 1,500 one week. And then he reached out to the guy and he's like, hey, are you going to pay me this week? The guy just blocked him and disappeared.
yeah,
So eventually, when you make a high volume or whatever, the guy can just disappear at any time.
yeah.
So it's not, I mean, you have to worry every week. And that's, I've talked to 6 or 7 that are driving here. I know probably 15 people that are using accounts here.
Yeah.
And they all worry every week on pay week. Will I get the amount? Sometimes they'll only send them half, but they don't have any recourse of, what are you going to do? Go tell the police that, hey, I was working illegally under account. And so when they see that you make a great week, they bolt with the money.
Well, this is the other issue that actually, and a lot of people actually come at me and say, "Oh, you're against immigrants. You're against." I'm not. I was an immigrant. I came here as a 19-year-old as an immigrant, and this is the other problem that the first experience that these poor people
Yep,
who run from this type of problem in their own countries come here and their first, second, third week. This is the
that's
experience
correct.
that they have and this is why I'm against all of this, and this is why I'm going to do my best to stop it.
Yep,
But you had another experience with, if you want to talk about it,
yep,
we certainly can. With your own account
yep.
that
So
you
I
just kind of
have,
rented out
yeah.
just to
So
test the waters. I mean,
yeah, so I was really curious at how this works. I won't say the app that I
yeah,
allowed to rent out, but one of the people who work, they had applied for asylum. He's only been in the country about 3 months. He was actually using his son's account. His son's account, they started throwing red, red flags, blah blah blah, and so he backed off of it. He asked me if he could use my account for a week to let his cool down. So I was like, yeah, let's try this. I want to see how this works. And he's like, I'll give you 10, 20, 30%, whatever you want. I'm like, no, 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 that's not important. I just, I don't use this account. Just use it. And I didn't really care if it got caught. I just wanted to see. Sure enough, he makes $1,400 the first week. And he's like, hey, you want 350? And next thing I look and I have 100% acceptance rate, all of this. So I'm talking to him and I'm like, well, my acceptance rate was like 20% using this account. So I'm like, how do you have it? But, I had only done like 34 trips. So I can't say 34 deliveries, whatever. And he's like, no, no, I must take every trip. I must take every trip. And I'm like, why do you take every trip? He goes, because like when we work for other people with their accounts, they tell us we have to have 100% completion rates.
yeah.
Have to. Because they said DoorDash, Eats, all of these places, they will look into it more if you're at 40%, 30%, 20%. If you're at 100% and you're taking everything, they leave you alone. They don't do facial recognitions. They don't do these things because they they want you to have those 100% acceptance rates. And so I'm like, dude, you're taking $3 19-mile trips. Like, what are you? He's like, yeah, yeah, we must do that. We have to do that. And I'm like,
Wow.
yeah.
Well,
So
I didn't know
that's
that. I mean, well, I do kind of understand why apps would want you to accept everything,
yep,
obviously, get all the trash delivered. But that's the other problem that I see happening, Trent, which is because of this, right? The people who, let's say, are cherry pickers or whatever they are, right? And that's why I think that the average earnings in the country is just going lower and lower because the
it is.
algorithms are going like, hey, we're putting out
It
these
is.
$3 orders. They're all
Yep.
being accepted. I'm like, yeah, might as well do it to everybody.
Yep. And
And
that's
that's the
true.
the chain reaction, or that's the domino effect that I'm seeing happening. And look, if I was the apps, I probably would do the same.
We did the
But
same thing.
but the point, the important thing in all of this is, okay, first, I want to, like at the start, like I said, I want to wake up the consumer, right? Look, there's 3 or 4 million drivers, couriers on Uber, and maybe another couple of million on DoorDash or whatever, right? The consumer is 150, 160 million. So it outnumbers the the driver base by 50x probably, right? So, my title for my tweet last week or a couple of days ago when I did the interview with Luis is, who's taking you to the airport? Who's bringing your food? Who's bringing, your groceries? Do you know what's going on, right? But I think the consumer, for the sake of convenience, right? I think is just not even paying attention to it. They go
Yeah,
like,
they're
this
not.
could be a Venezuelan gang member or some Mexican gang member.
Yep.
Again, I'm not against immigration, but I just read it on Twitter that 600,000 people had criminal records which came over the border. This is
Yep.
from the ICE. This is not me
That's
saying it.
and that's the ones we know about. I mean, most
That's
of
the one we
those,
know about. And what if
most of
one
them.
of these people is delivering your food? I mean, when will the consumer wake up, or when will the companies wake up to this? I know why the companies are not doing anything about it because, hey, it gets the trash delivered. I want to hear your opinion about all this. Well, obviously, we're going to agree on why the companies are turning the other cheek, right? Or whatever, turning away from the issue. But do we need like a rape or somebody getting killed by one of these gang members that come over the border for this to just get in the public eye? What do we need to do? What can we do?
Well, and I think a lot of it, I always compare it to we look at cars with the seatbelt issue. Remember with
Yeah,
the airbag issue, right? I mean, Chevy, Honda, Toyota, they all knew that this was a major issue, but they're going to keep it quiet until something major happens. You have a lawsuit, but they still made so much money off of it that they made more than they would have paid in a lawsuit.
yeah,
And I think that's Uber's policy. Uber's and Lyft, I think even DoorDash, that's what they've always done. They've always pushed the boundaries between illegal, legal, what can we get away with? And if we don't get away with it, we'll get sued. We'll settle out of court with our lawyers because our lawyers are bigger than yours. And we'll give you a small amount and then we make a fortune. If you can offer $3 trips and people are taking it, but then you get sued later on because they killed somebody for $1 million, well, you've made 10 times that. So
yeah,
it's, but it is going to take, online on X, we're very active. We have a large community there. We're always talking about this, but as drivers, we complain, we complain, we complain. We try to get together, but ultimately, it's not going to be us that changes things. It's going to be the consumers. They're the ones that pay the money, and when we can get them involved, that's how we get change. Like I said, like when I still customers from Uber, Lyft, whatever. I can do my private rides. I always talk to the customers, ones that I get to know, like, hey, this is what Uber pays us. This is what they do. This is what you might have in the future. You might have illegals driving you, whatever. And then most of the times when I do that, the pastor's like, yeah, I've had a couple of people that were supposed to be Jose, but it was Maria picking me up, or it was supposed to be this. And then you're putting that seed in their brain
yeah,
and they already know it because they've already had these ideas because they've already been picked up by people. They already have an idea. Most of the passengers that use Lyft all the time, Uber, they know something's going on. But
yeah,
then when a driver tells them and confirms it with them, it's just reinforcement for them. One, that helps you build private clients, but two, that's what we need. We need more. I've seen more articles in the last 3 months, YouTube videos of journalists going after Uber, going after Lyft for their pay than I have in my last 5 years.
yeah,
And that's a good thing for us because ultimately we just want to be paid fairly, but we don't want government involvement. I mean,
yeah,
I don't want the government involved telling us that they can only pay this or this or this
yeah,
because we know what's happening in Boston, Minnesota, places, but we also want to be paid fairly, right? I mean,
yeah,
and we also want to be humane to illegal immigrants. They're here trying to find a better life. Like my
yeah,
wife is from Colombia, but we got her citizenship legally. We went through the paperwork legally. It did cost us a fortune, but we did it legally.
yeah,
And it's a hard process, and you feel for the people that are trying to just make a better life.
yeah,
But as a border patrol agent, every 20 people that I caught, there was one or two coyotes in every group, or two people that you would not want to be associated with. So yes, 99% of them are just looking for work, but there is that 1 to 2% or even more that's not. I mean, we look at the nurse that was killed in Georgia, raped, killed,
yeah,
and then he was a DoorDash driver,
yeah,
right? And then we have other people, and just like you said, I did a Walmart delivery the other day, and I intentionally did not tip on the app because I wanted to see if it still would be picked up. It was like a $480 100 item order. It was delivered, and the person that was supposed to be delivering it was not the person that delivered it.
yeah,
So I started talking to her, and she goes, "Oh no, it's my boyfriend's account." And I'm like, "Okay," and then once I get to know her, I started talking to her. I'm like, "Hey, da 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 da." She's not legal here. She don't even have a driver's license, and she's delivering Walmart groceries. Well, like you said, most of the neighborhoods here in Palm Beach are gated. So I have to leave the gate code for them. So now they have my gate code.
yeah,
So if she was working with her boyfriend, they already have the first part of to get back into my house. They can come to your house and see, oh, you have dogs, do you have locks? They can scope out your house in a gated neighborhood and they already have your code. They could sell your code, do whatever.
yeah,
We have a lot of I have an assisted living here, facility here that has a code on the front door and they give out the code all the time to Uber Eats. And one of the ladies told me the other day there was just a guy walking around and he went into their dining hall and was trying to eat.
yeah,
And he was somebody that came from the day before to deliver food, but he got the code, so he thought I can come get some free food here. But it's only for the assisted living. He kind of stuck out as a young man. So
yeah. I mean, convenience over safety, man. It was just mind-numbing to me that the consumer is going for that stuff, right? And then
yeah,
I guess some important person has to get hurt by doing that, and then
yeah,
that's when I think. But you're correct, though. I mean, there's a lot more happening in the media. There's a lot more. awareness actually, and I'm going to do my best to add to it. But I want to go back to like what you said in the last little segment about you renting your account, right, for a week, and I know you did it for a week.
Right.
And so during that process, and we're not going to name the app, obviously, but were you at any point asked by the app for a verification, face
No.
verification?
The only time when he gave the account back to me at the end of the week and I went and logged back into my phone,
Yeah.
it asked me for a verification. That was the only time. And he did 100 and something, deliveries with it in 1 week, never once asked. And
And
it's
obviously, in those
really
100
crazy.
deliveries, not one consumer said, "Hey, this is
Nope.
not Trent, by the way." I
Yep.
don't know, like, yeah,
And I mean, he doesn't really look like me. I mean, he's from, Venezuela. And then also, the other thing is too, like, I mean, most of the restaurants don't really care. They have the food out. And that was the other thing that I did. I used to be a director at a Chick-fil-A.
yeah,
So I ended up doing an Uber Eats order a couple of weeks ago at that Chick-fil-A. And I know their process pretty well because I'm the one that put it in place. But when I was there, I walked up and the lady's like, I need to see your phone. I need you to verify it. I need to make sure blah, 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 blah. And I need to see the app. And I'm like, when did this start?
yeah,
And she said, well, we've been having a lot of problems with Uber Eats drivers coming in and they just grab all the bags off the thing and they take it. And she said, we watched one on the camera to sit out and eat it in his car the other day. So we
yeah,
went out and drove off. So she said, what's happening is they're coming in, and even when they're not picking up order, they just find a random bag, grab it, and take off because you're going to have French fries, whatever. So why not? I mean, they have 10 bags sitting there.
yeah.
Same thing at Starbucks today. I was picking up, and she said, no, I need you to wait. We'll hand you the bag. And I'm like, why are you not putting them here where all the other mobile orders are? She said, because the Uber Eats drivers are coming in and they're just grabbing random drinks off of the stand because
Yeah.
it's a free coffee for them, and then they take off with it.
Well,
And she
I've
said
been
it's happening
actually
every day.
testing. I've been actually testing that this week, doing some Uber Eats orders, and there is something new in the app now because before it would say verify the order, grab it from the, Chipotle rack or
Yep.
whatever that you're doing. Now it says verify the order. Now the restaurant has to put a scanning code or QR code on each single order. You scan that through your app, and
Yep.
then I'm always talkative. I was talking to the restaurants. I go, well, what if like a mom and pop shop can't afford any of this? And then what if, because there's the food theft is so high, they're saying that people are coming in grabbing bags and just walking out, is that
Yep.
this also kind of proves that, in this three-sided marketplace, right? We have the drivers, couriers, we have the restaurants, and we have the consumer, right? Nobody's happy about any of this, right? Restaurants are losing money, and then they're called Uber or
Yep.
DoorDash or Grubhub or whoever. And you know how that support thing goes,
Yep.
right? They want to ask for their money and they hit the restaurant with a debit at the
Yep.
end of the week.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I don't know what the solution is, but my main concern is for the safety of the
Yep.
consumer at this moment. And so we have a few minutes remaining. I want to talk to you a little bit about your market and rideshare as well while I have you here. About a year ago when we did our original BTW, behind the wheel, you have your private business that you're doing legally. You
Yep.
have your commercial insurance, you have everything. You've built a great clientele base. I know that. How's it been going? So give me an update.
Private business is good. Uber, Lyft. Yeah. I mean, we're in the summer months, just ending the summer. The summer in South Florida is slow, uh, but the fares have got so bad here. With even Premier, which is our black for Uber, our black for Lyft. I mean, I'm looking where black used to pay, 250, $3 a mile. I'm sometimes now getting trips that are $1.10 a mile, $1.20 a mile. It seems like Uber and Lyft have went to this. They care more about the hourly pay than they do the mileage. And
Yeah,
I think what's happening is when you see this number pop up, and it takes me to Fort Lauderdale, 45 minutes, and it'll say $31, and you're like, what? And you're like, it's 47 miles. It's like 70 cents a mile. And this is a comfort trip or even a black trip. And I'm like, what is this? And
yeah,
oh, well, it's $30 an hour. I mean,
yeah,
but it's a mind game that they're playing because they're popping this. If you look at it, it tells you the miles in small, but it'll tell you real big numbers right there. This is 41 minutes, $36.
yep,
And it's making people think that they're making $35 an hour when they're really not. Like, I'm not driving 45 miles for $30 because you got to come back. That's 90 miles total for $30 after you take out tolls, whatever else. It's negative, so it's stupid.
Yeah.
And they're doing this, and they're reinforcing that with these emails. Oh, make $26 an hour, make $22 an hour, make whatever, right? And now listening to Chris, and he was saying that they're popping out something now that tells you this is $27.50 per hour.
Yeah.
So they're really trying to play that mind game with people, and I hope people aren't falling for it. But it's really, the rates have dropped. I mean, I got a comfort trip the other day. It was 42 cents a mile, and I'm just like, really?
42 cents a mile?
42 cents a mile. And then, so I, in the summer, have actually switched over to doing Uber Eats because, like, people think I'm crazy. I'm doing Eats in a Tesla or a Suburban. But if I can get $3 a mile on a delivery, I'm doing
Exactly.
it. I don't give a if it's actually food, if it's whatever.
Exactly.
It is what it is. Like, I just did a $14 3-mile trip. I'll take those all day.
Yeah.
And then I have some people who are like, wow, let's see what a great trip this is. Oh, look, there's an XL trip. 28 miles for $40. No, thank you.
Not bad. That's not bad.
No, but 28 miles down, 28 miles back, 56 miles.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Eats have been better, but you also have to cipher through so much garbage. Like, my acceptance rate was 3%. And of course, I was in the disadvantaged, little person
You're
bus.
the lower class citizen you are.
Yeah. And so I finally got up to 26%, thinking that it was going to make a huge difference. But all it did was give me one trip a day that was exclusive. So really not much of anything. So it's what it is. But the rates have been really bad here. And it has hurt my private business for the fact that I used to be able to charge 125 or 160 to Miami. And because it used to cost $110 with Uber, now Uber, you can do it for 60. So of course my private clients are like, hey, just letting you know, like, I could actually do this for this, So what they're doing, you brought up this on the Show Me the Money Club about how they run out small businesses.
Yeah.
And I really think with InDrive being in Miami, this is about when our prices drop drastically.
Yeah.
And I think what they're doing is they're trying to run these companies out of business. They can lower the fares as much as they want. I consider it just like Walmart. They come into a place, and it's like I've said before on my X account, if you're charging $100 for a ride and you're giving the driver $70, Uber makes $30. If they charge 50, they pay the driver 20, they still make $30.
Yep.
They just charge the customer half now, so they're making the same. The driver gets screwed, and the customers are happy. They double their customer base because they're like, oh my God, I can go for $50.
Yep.
But the only person that gets hurt is the driver.
Yep.
And I really think that's what these two companies are doing.
Yeah, they are, because they don't like competition. And that's why I think a 3-letter agency pretty soon has to look at the anti-competitive nature of what they're doing.
100%.
I'm telling you, I told this on Show Me the Money last week. I'm trying to help launch this company with no hocus pocus algorithms, straight up time, distance, all that good stuff. Driver gets to keep everything, subscription-based model. I mean, I'm telling you, they got a wind of it, and the fares they're offering to the riders is like, I go like, we can't compete with this. We can't.
100%.
And I don't know, but we have a couple of minutes remaining. I'm going to give you the floor. You can talk about anything you want.
I think going back to a little bit of political, a little bit of illegal immigration, I just want people to understand that, like, our politicians are talking about fixing illegal immigration. There is a simple solution to fix illegal immigration, and nobody ever talks about it with political office. It's all about, let's build a wall, let's build border policy, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. Yeah. There is 2 million at least waiting for asylum cases to be heard right now.
Yeah.
Most of them have been waiting 2 to 3 to 5 years already.
Yeah.
I saw a notice to appear, which is something you get when you cross over and you apply for asylum, for 2031.
Oh my God.
So this guy is here for 7 years before his case is going to get heard. If you want to fix the border issue, it's a really simple process. Right now, we have about 173 judges hearing asylum cases. Like I said, over 2 million cases. You want to fix it, you move 2,000 to 3,000 judges just to do this. So if I'm in Venezuela and I'm coming to the United States, it's going to cost me $600-700 to do it illegally. And I know that I can stay here for 7 years. I know that I can have 6 kids that are now going to be American citizens who are going to be my anchor to be here. I know that I can work, I can send money back. And then even in 7 years, if I'm deported, so what? I'm going to do it. If I knew that my asylum case was going to get heard in 1 month from the time that I get here, and I'm either going to be adjudicated, I'm going to be deported, or I'm going to be allowed in, I'm not coming,
Yeah.
because I'm not wasting the money to come here just to get deported, get held in a jail cell, and then deported in 1 month. And 90% of these asylum cases are fake. They're not even, they're just made up BS. I've seen one of the girls that I was looking at her paperwork, it was said that she was like targeted by FARC, targeted by this in Colombia constantly. And then when I'm like, what is all that? She's like, I don't know. The social service people that we applied with, they made all that up and wrote it to make it sound good. She goes, I don't even know who the FARC, I didn't even deal with them.
Yeah.
So if that's all you got to do. It's deterrence. So if they know that they're going to be deported in 2 weeks, they're not coming from Venezuela and risking their life for 2 weeks. But that's how you fix it. And if you do that over a year, then we're going to stop having this illegal immigration problem. And that's the key to that. The other thing is, as drivers, we need to stick together. Like on X, I see drivers arguing with each other over this
Yeah.
or that. This, we're all in the same boat. We all are making crappy wages. We're all fighting with Uber, but we need to stick together and we need to be supportive of each other. We're all struggling to make ends meet. We're struggling to do whatever. I mean, I saw an Uber yesterday. He's living in his car. And unfortunately, I was in one the other day that had bad tires, and he's like, I just don't have enough money to pay my bills and get the tires. I'm just
Yeah.
not. I'm working 80 hours a week. And a lot of us are in that. And for me, I'm 50 years old. I have a disability. I can't work a W-2 job, right? I
Yeah.
got approved for disability this year. I turned it down because of my private business, because of my lupus. And, I was given 6 months to live a few years ago. And I can't just go work another job. And that's what you hear from people on X. Oh, just go get a real job or go get this. Well, this is a
Yeah.
real job, right?
Yeah.
And but I just want to tell people, like, you're your own boss. So if you're doing Uber and Lyft, don't be afraid to build private clients the right way. If you get the insurance, whatever, that's where the money is.
Yeah.
Be social, and think about yourself. Think about your family.
Yeah.
Do what's best for you,
Yeah.
and don't worry about Uber. If you still a customer for Uber, they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You got to think about your bottom line.
Yeah. Well,
So
my hat's off to you, man, as usual. Great conversation, and we're gonna keep in touch. We always do anyway. But keep looking, be my eyes and ears in Florida about this illegal accounts and fake accounts, because I think you're gonna get somewhere with this. And
well, if
like
you
I
want,
said,
we can
with
go buy an
the
account together. We can do a video
yeah,
and we can
I'm
go
gonna
get one.
actually do one in LA. But like the More Perfect Union email I sent to Eric, I said this is just the tip of the iceberg, and I think there's a lot more
Yeah.
on the bottom of the ocean there to discover. So I want to
Yep.
thank you. I want to wish you best of health and
Okay. Thank you.
nothing but safety, obviously. And
Yep.
we'll see you soon. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Come follow me on X. It's Black Card Trent, and we
Yeah.
have a good
Oh, well,
community.
yeah.
So
He's active. Obviously, I'm active on X. Definitely, great community of drivers on X. So, thank you, Trent. Much appreciated, man.
yeah, thank you, Serge.
Thanks for watching this episode of Behind the Wheel on the Rideshare Guy. We've been doing these interviews for the past 6 months with very successful drivers from different cities around the nation. Click here for another episode. Make sure you subscribe and turn on all notifications for other episodes of Behind the Wheel, as well as amazing content on our channel.